It might sound strange to talk about the gifts of Katrina for Christmas 2005. That shows you what kind of shape your preacher's in. This is the other century. But anyway, Katrina definitely, distinctly brought gifts, terrors, horrors, difficulties, brokenness, woundedness, loss, but gifts. Sometimes the gifts of Christmas are quite strange. Not long ago, I read a story about a family that gave some gifts to their adult children, and the first one that was opened was a little teeny box. It was a box in which a little toy car had once been placed, but there was no car. It was just a box. The kid looked at it for a long time, looked inside to see if there was something there, had a strange look on his face. And then the adult daughter opened the box, and it was a pine cone. It was just a little old pine cone. It was worn, obviously had been around a while, and looked at it with a slight smile of recognition on her face. And she said, "Mama, wasn't that the year that we got all these gifts and preferred the box the car came in and the pine cone from the backyard?" And the mama said, "Yes." Strange gifts. Sometimes the most precious gifts are strange as the world perceives them. And if we would talk about gifts that Katrina would bring, one of them would be this: a new understanding of God and the world and ourselves. Katrina reminded us to look at what we really think and what we really believe about the kind of God that God is. Is our God the kind of God that creates hurricanes so that people can suffer? Or is our God the kind of God that when hurricanes come because a part of a created natural order that's fundamentally good, God is present with us as we attempt to redeem it, as we attempt to address it, as we attempt to fix it? We will be dealing for a long time, every time there is a crisis of any kind, with what we believe about God. The doctrine of God is the beginning and the end. It's the foundation upon which all of our religious understandings are built. Our doctrine is that this God of creation creates for what is good and not for the purpose of destroying or creating chaos or taking life, but for seeing that these realities are answered with men and women of faith who come along the way. The other thing is we take a look at the world. Enjoy it today because it may change very quickly. Our youngest daughter said that the beachfront is open now in a few areas. She called us yesterday. And she said, "Mom, Dad, you just wouldn't believe it." She said, "It's all gone." She said, "It's all gone." And those of us who have been there know that feeling. And then she said, "Oh, thank you, Jesus. There's the place that's still standing where they do my fingernails. And they're open. Hallelujah." But the fact is that the world that was once so stable and dependable, that looked the way we always thought it looked all those times, it's changed. It's gone. Can there be a new heaven? Can there be a new earth? Can a kind of new Jerusalem come toward us in all of these affected places? And then another view of ourselves. You know, sometimes we get pretty smart-aleck and pretty arrogant. We're in charge of everything. Nothing's bigger than we are. You know, God's not really necessary anymore. Scientifically, we can handle it all, and I'm 100% for scientific advancement, but never at the cost of the humility that follows every understanding of the full nature of reality. And so we need to be very careful as we think about God and the world, that we don't take ourselves too seriously, that we understand that it's important for us to live fully and well in these days and in these places, and that our world, like us, is quite fragile. The other thing that's wonderful about the gift from Katrina is the gift of new beginning. Incidentally, this cough will also pass. A lot of us have it. Bless you. I hope you get better soon. Did you read in the paper this morning about the little lady that had had a huge house on this particular place, on this particular piece of property? And she said, "And we're going to build back, and we're not going to be defeated by this, but we'll build back exactly what we need and no more." That's a new beginning. That's a healthy new beginning. And there will be a lot of new beginnings of different sorts and different kinds down on the coast and around. But you know, one of the gifts of Katrina to you and to me in this place today is the gift of new beginning right here and right now. I was sharing with my Sunday school class, I talked with a guy the other day that said, I am trying to address my Coke habit. And I knew he wasn't talking about Coca-Cola. And I said, well, what are you trying to do with it? He said, I'm thinking about it. And I said, what does that mean? He said, well, it's too much fun to quit right now. And I said, about what does it cost you? About $100 a day. Maybe I ought to quit. Nobody can speak to him or for him or anybody else, and that's not to point to him, because there are a lot of us out there that need a new beginning of some kind. But what I want to say is, in the name of the eternal God, that new beginnings are available and that they are possible and there for you and me. And if there's anybody that thinks there's not some spot, some place, some area, some part of us that doesn't need a new beginning, you might want to look more carefully at yourself, and you might want to think a little bit more deeply about it, because we do need and we can have. Here's another gift, another view of what is valuable, and another view of institutions. For example, we say, my house is the most valuable thing in my life. Oh, I'm glad you have a house you like, and I hope it stays there. But when these houses are gone completely, you could actually tell me this yourself. But when people say, what is it you miss the most? You know what they say? Remember? The pictures, the marriage certificate, mama's death certificate, daddy's ordination into the service. So it's really important for us to take a look at what really is valuable. It's curious, Todd could tell you about this because where he stayed is very close to this, but the Main Street church is here, and if you go right down here to what used to be the beachfront, what you have is sand. Where Trapani's restaurant was that we all used to like to eat, it's just a sandy beach, and a gutted out place that used to be a department store. But right here is the Hancock Bank. And when I was a kid, I used to always think, one of these days I'll get to go into the Hancock Bank. And I knew the people that owned the bank and all, but we didn't get to go there much. But then finally one day I went in there to make a major deposit. I was opening a Christmas club, and I had $1. And you put in $1 a month, and you got $12, and boy. And I was in the Hancock Bank, marble floors and all that kind of stuff. It was the strongest looking place. The walls are like 4 feet thick and all that kind of stuff. And when I walked down there, I said, well, thank goodness the Hancock Bank is standing. I said, there it is. Look at it. It looks just like it always looked. Of course, the street was right up to where, there was just sand where there used to be a street. But there it stood. But one of the people was there and said, I used to clerk there. And she said, it's totally gutted on the inside. It's completely washed out, including all the safety deposit boxes and their contents. See, I'm going to put my most valuable things in the safety deposit box, and nothing and nobody will ever get them. Look into your heart of hearts, beloved. I'm looking into mine. And find out what really is valuable and what institutions really endure. There is only one rock that does not shift in the moving sands of human experience. And that is the rock from which you are hewn and I am hewn, the eternal and the everlasting rock of the true God. Then one other thing that's important, the last gift we'll talk about, and you can take this and run with it yourself. Todd did that so beautifully. The gift of your presence. You know that the people that go down there are not going to fix what is broken. The people that go down there are not going to redeem everything that needs to be redeemed. But what they are going to do is represent one little piece of hope for somebody. One little helpful energy. That was the word that he used. In a world that has a kind of a general depression, an ambient depression all around, is that just the Gulf Coast? Or is it possible that wherever you and I may go in these days and times, whatever we choose to do that is given in order that we might be able to serve somebody else, isn't it possible that maybe you and I might become that representative of help, that little bit of hope, that energy that might make somebody say, I think I'm going to be able to do it. I think of the story that Todd told us so beautifully about Rick Brooks, the pastor down there. Rick's going to come sing for us sometime. He's got a beautiful baritone voice, and he's going to do a third Sunday night for us. But he called Rick and he said, we want to know, we're coming down this next week, what can we do for you? And he said, well, we need some shovels and we need some water, and I think they need, and Todd said, no, what can we do for you? And he said, and the preacher from the church at Bay St. Louis wept for me. Well, what about a sweater? Or what about a little something for our retarded child? And what we were was not just a sweater or a little something for a child with special needs. What we were was the Spirit of God in the form of the broken flesh of a man or woman like you, like me, going to a people who needed it. What we were, beloved, was God's gift to that circumstance, God's gift to that situation. You know who that is ringing? Me. At least it's not like the church where when the bell rang, the floor fell open and the preacher got dumped on the outside. So as we think about the gifts of Katrina, stop for just a moment and ask yourself just what gifts are being brought to us, even in spite of the devastation, the destruction, and the loss. What good things is God lifting up? And through whom is God lifting these good things? And as you get ready to buy your Christmas gifts, let me tell you a couple of things. When somebody asks you, what are the very best gifts that can ever be given? They will be different for each one of you, but trust me when I tell you that there might not be gifts that cost very much. I have a little something written by one of our daughters that says, "You're a very good daddy." I have a little card by another one of our daughters that said, "I thank you very much, not only for Christmas, but for being dad." And our son, after he got sober and began to deal with his addiction, on that Christmas said, "Whatever you wrap up is okay. But this I want to say, person to person, face to face, thanks. Thanks." So whether it's a box that a car came in or a little pine cone from the backyard, there are gifts to be given and gifts to be received. God help us in the process. Amen. Will you take your hymnal and turn